but I don't think we get enough messaging about menopause. This is my week 7 75 soft recap and reflection video. I can't believe I have completed week 7 thus far. Time is definitely going faster. I think once we hit after Halloween, it seems as though the end of the year is definitely approaching. So week 7, I started reading the memoir by Sheila Johnson, who was a co-founder of BET. The title of her memoir is Walk Through Fire, a memoir of love, loss, and triumph. This memoir has been really difficult to listen to. I think that if it wasn't as difficult to listen to, I would have finished it already. However, she details a lot about her first marriage and that her ex-husband was emotionally absent, emotionally abusive for all of their marriage, according to her. So it's been difficult to listen to a woman who was married for 30 years and had that experience. The beginning of her memoir starts off detailing her childhood, the fact that she came from a Black middle class background. Initially, her parents were central in the neighborhood, particularly her mother. She liked to host. She was extroverted, so her house was known for gatherings until her father abruptly decided to divorce her mom, and that left a heavy burden on her mother to the point where she had a mental health episode. And from that experience, Sheila Johnson states, like, I vowed to never become or never have the same experience as her mother. However, she lived through a 30-year marriage that was emotionally absent. And some of the things that her former husband would say to her, it's a difficult listen, just because over the years, like, you're repeatedly hearing this and hearing her voice speak her truth. I think this is why I have not finished the novel yet. The memoir yet. So what I do appreciate about this memoir is her being transparent about her experience, that even though she vowed to not enter into an emotionally abusive marriage, that it happened. And I think there is a level of, or the act of healing in telling your story for yourself. I wonder if this memoir was a part of her healing process, a part of her acceptance process, a part of her forgiveness process. Yeah, so I'm just wondering, like, what words connects with Sheila Johnson and this memoir? What happened as a result for herself and her journey as a Black woman in writing this memoir? Especially because she has a daughter and she has a son. And the light of their marriage were their kids, according to Sheila Johnson. So I'm just wondering, like, what are the consequences of this memoir for Sheila Johnson? Because even though she details her business journey, her journey as a musician, an educator, entrepreneur, a lot of it has to do with her womanhood inside of her marriage and how that impacted her self-esteem, her self-image. So I'm wondering, what did it do for her and how she views herself in writing this memoir? I also wonder about her grieving process, since at certain points in the memoir she returns back to her relationship with her father. Like, how does her relationship, and is there a connection between her relationship with her dad and her relationship with her first husband, and thinking about grieving a loss? Because she states that she loved her first husband. Also, in her saying that she loved her first husband, again, that question of definitions. How was she defining love? This week, I was also able to go on a hike. It snowed this week, so definitely it felt as though in early winter. It wasn't a drastic snowfall. The snow didn't stick to the ground. So I was grateful to have the opportunity to hike while it was snowing. It just reminded me of snow days during my childhood when we were able to go outside and play. So hiking in the snow made me think a lot about the concept or the practice of the importance of making sure that play is a part of my routine as a woman, as an adult. There's definitely a lot of emphasis on work and routines and being a capable adult. We get a lot of those messaging, but I don't think we get enough messaging about normalizing play as adults. Week 7 also felt as though I was recalibrating to a reset, to a new standard, and that meant for me returning to my morning yoga practice, which helps me to enter the day slowly and intentionally. I find as though if I don't take time to wake up my body slowly, that I move through the day differently. Movement at the beginning of the day helps me to be more present with how my body is feeling throughout the day. So returning to my morning yoga practice helped me to remember that. This week I finished up my Just Eggs, added it to morning breakfasts. Also, I had portobello mushroom in my last grocery shopping trip. I really enjoyed making the portobello mushroom, a portobello mushroom burger. It was my first time making it myself. Added caramelized onions, coconut amino acids, seasoning. Going to different markets, it's just always interesting to see how many varieties of mushrooms they are. I love a good fried oyster mushrooms. The texture is definitely similar to like a meaty texture. So if you're someone who's looking to add more plant-based meals into their diet, I would recommend trying out mushroom, particularly oyster mushrooms. So I intend to get some oyster mushrooms on my next shopping trip and cook it in a variety of ways. I haven't fried oyster mushrooms in a long time. I used to go to this vegan restaurant that had some really great fried oyster mushrooms with a side of greens and veggies. So I'll have to report back about how my fried oyster mushrooms turned out. I plan to make my own dry mix and wet mix this time. Although I do like some of the store dry mix for frying, it has a lot of sodium in it. So right now I'm trying to be intentional about reducing sodium intake. And a lot of packaged goods have a high amount of sodium. So I'm either going to modify a recipe from a vegan chef or a vegan content creator and see how that turns out, or just as a lot of folks say, let the ancestors lead you and see how it turns out. So it's a shorter recap this week. I hope as the season is changing, if you live in an area that actually has 4 seasons or experiences the coldness of winter, that is going well. I know for melanated folks and vitamin D deficiency, sometimes if I'm tired, I also take vitamin D. And I know with the sun setting earlier and someone who likes to be outdoors, it's harder to enjoy the outdoors since it gets darker earlier. So going on the morning walks now as routine definitely helps me to get that vitamin D in. Thankfully, it's a sunny day. So when this video finds you, I hope that you are doing well. Thank you again for being a part of my community. And remember, love is real.